Hi Alison, Mandy here. Just a quick 5-minute video as promised to show you how the club system works here in Private Fund Manager. So as you can see on the screen, this is our software. It's really simple to find your way around and use. It all works on these tabs that are across the top of the screen. Sometimes there's a second level, so there's kind of subsections of the main heading, and then sometimes there's a third level, which are subsections. But all you do is click on each one to move your way around the system. You can be in the middle of one thing, pop off, look up a report, get some information, click back, and it will be exactly as you left it. So the first thing is how we get students into the system. You mentioned that you use Integris. So we provide you with a little report that goes into Integris, and all that does, pretty obviously, is extract the necessary pupil and parent information. And then it creates a little spreadsheet. In Private Fund Manager here, we go to the File menu, and as you can see, there's an option called Integris Import. You browse to tell it what you've called the file and simply click on the Import Students button, and they will all be imported here into Private Fund Manager. And clearly you'd have to do that maybe every half term, more often if you have lots of students joining you all the time, if not just as and when. That brings the students into the system. We now just need to create a code, an account or a cost centre nominal code for our various clubs. And if we've just got the one, perfect, we just have the one code. We can call it anything logical. So if it was after school club, we might have ASC, and we might put the term in summer 19. You can call these anything you like, whatever's logical for you. After School Club 2019. I'm pressing the Tab key to jump from box to box. Responsible person, if you want to put on who's running the club, you can create a list or you can type your own names in. And then over here we've got a question, how do you want to track the money that comes in for After School Club? We actually want to know each individual pupil, who's come, who's paid, etc. So we make the tracking something called by individual. And then we simply click in the student box at the bottom here, where a full list that's been imported from Integris appears of the whole school. And this is where we pick any pupils who might, could, do come to the After School Club. Before we do that, however, we don't want to specify how much each person's going to pay because that's variable. So we click a little box that says ABC, which just means attendance-based contribution. So everyone only pays if they attend. And then from this list, I double click anyone who comes to After School Club. I obviously can go back if someone turns up that I wasn't expecting, or I guess theoretically you could add the whole school, but the idea with this is we're putting on the people who have registered an interest. It doesn't matter if they don't come, it's just on there as who we're expecting. So you get the idea with that. Now I've set this club up then, I use one of these menus up at the top left hand corner called ABC, which is attendance based contribution. And a kind of little register appears. So I'm going to call up my After School Club that I've just created, and all the children appear. An asterisk indicates that this child is on free school meals. Put in the cost per session. So in your case you said there are two pricing tiers. So I'm going to say the standard is £7. And what that means is if the first person on my list just turns up, they gave us no warning, we just click. When we click on the day that they've come, as you can see, it allocates the full £7 to them. However, if these two people, Brough and Denfield, have told us they're coming and they get their 10% off, we put their amended price structure in this middle box. And then whenever we click to say that they have come, that's the amount of money that they'll charged. But it's no worries if it turns out that the first person actually did give us notice. We can go back and change it to the reduced figure. If we don't put anything in this middle column and we use the click to show attendance, it defaults to the full £7 without the discount. So we can go through, as you can see, and put in ticks to indicate attendance, and that incurs the debt. A few things you can do in the bottom corner here. There's a register you can print. If I simply just click it, it gives me the list of people I'm expecting this week. So this is kind of useful if we're told in advance. If we go to the next week where we've got nobody listed or nobody ticked, if I go for print register there, we get the full list of people who may or may not come to after school club on a nice little printed list that we can tick and then enter here onto the grid. We've also got things like an attendance record. So when it comes to billing people, the parent might say, oh, I'm not sure that's the right amount. And you can go for an attendance record, you can pick up one of your students, specify your date range, so I'm going to say from the 10th to the 16th of June, and I can have a little look at an attendance record for that student. Obviously, if that were multiple weeks, it would list them all. It's got ticks the days they've come, what that's cost, how much they've so far paid, and therefore what their balance is. So nice little reports available to show parents attendance and monies owing. If you really wanted to, I'm not sure this is your requirement, if you had people that were booking for the whole term or a whole half term, there is a facility to copy up at the top here the ticks through to the next week and the next week and the next week and the next week, and then there is the facility to raise invoices for people. And the invoicing option does what it says. It says you've committed to a whole term's worth. Here's the complete invoice for the whole term. So if that's something that you're interested in, it is available there. When it comes to these people paying, there's lots of options. I've gone into the receipting area now. There's straightforward cash and cheques that can be added up and put into the bank. So if I just show you very quickly, if I choose the after school club, everyone who has been registered as maybe wanting to come shows, and as you can see down the right hand side, what they currently owe. And so you can put the money in as cash or cheque, full amounts or part amounts, and that one might be a cheque number, and this guy might have paid £5 in cash and this one £7 by cheque, etc. Click on finish. They show on our paying in grid as individual items but totalled up at the bottom, and when you're ready you can press the bank it button to send that money to the bank. If you're just using this only for clubs, still press the bank it. It's really the save it option to show who and hasn't paid. So I'm just going to save that one. And then when it comes to who has and hasn't paid, over here on an area called reports, we've got whole loads of different reports. For example, our pupil reports, and I've chosen the after school club. So I can just at the bottom here get all sorts of reports about their payments. So that's showing me no one outstanding at the moment. I can get information about debtors. Let's just have a look at what else we've got on here. That will do. So payments outstanding, that one's also fully paid up. We can get monies outstanding, we can get contact lists, we can get parents' address and phone number lists. We've also got over here on the side a debtors button, and the debtors will show us who owes as well as contact information. So just jumping back to the reports on the side, so the payments, let's have a look at payments received. So this is the payments received report. So it's telling us how much each person owes, how much they've paid, and as you can see, what each person still owes for after school club. We can get debtor lists of just people who owe money. And we can also, if we want to, write emails and letters automatically from the system that just says, you owe X amount for the after school club, please could you pay it in these various ways. And of course, there are standard financial reports, so income and expenditure reports that show us money in, money out, balance sheets, audit trails, etc. So that's just a brief overview. Sorry, it went to 10 minutes instead of 5. If there's any questions, of course, do buzz me and we can talk through them. See you later.